the first thing that I want to say is usually when I hear this, you know, the left hand sounds like a runaway train, you know, it's just like blasting away. And the right hand is just kind of going, your right hand is terrific. I mean, you really have a sense of the phrase. It's melodic. And it's rare that I hear that, which is really, really good. The issue for you is your left hand, which is, it's, you know, it's hard. And, you know, so part of, there's a, you know, a couple of ways to think about it. I would say a three-pronged approach. First of all, be sure that you know what your fingering is, because I saw some suspicious hopping going on there. And you really want to just have that fingering locked down so that you really know what you're doing. And I'll talk to you about that in a second. The second thing is being sure that your mechanism is working as efficiently as possible so that you're not adding any built-in extra problems, okay? So I had the little kids yesterday, so I had a student we were talking about, she's trying to we're dealing with speed, okay, because this is fast, let's face it, you know. And so I told her, I said, okay, if I hand you a potato, okay, and I tell you to run as fast as you can to the end of the block and back, okay, imagine that. She's like, yeah, okay. Okay, now I'm going to hand you a 20-pound bag of potatoes. Now you run as fast as you can to the end of the block and back. I said, are you going to run as fast? She's like, oh, no. I said, that's right. So what happens is when you build in tension in your arm or hand, it's like you're adding a 20-pound bag of potatoes to your arm, and you already have enough to cope with, you know, carrying one potato or hopefully none, you know. So, sorry about the potato analogy, but just a little. So you want to make sure that your technical mechanism is working as efficiently and smoothly as possible. So one of the things, and I think fingering is going to help, because like I said, when I see the hops, this kind of thing, when you have to hop that fast, there's no way you're not going to be tight. And when you get tight, that's the equivalent of adding more pounds to your 20-pound bag. So, and then the third thing, okay, so fingering, good technique. And the third thing is you have to build strength, you know, because there's just no way to do this and not be strong, you know. So there are ways that you can work on that, and and it's building not just strength, but also building, I can't think anymore. Our semester ended last week and I have no marbles left in my head. Endurance, that's the word I'm looking for. Because if you look at this, and Anna, here, go ahead and take your score, because I have a copy. I just downloaded it this morning, and I don't have measure numbers, so we'll have to kind of wing it. But if you look at your score, I mean, other than in measure 5, you have an 8th note. And other than that, there's nothing but 16th notes here. Okay, and we keep going, and there's nothing but 16th notes, and nothing but 16th notes. And oh, there's an 8th note. I mean, it's crazy. It never stops. It really doesn't. So you have to also find ways that you can throw off any tension, you know, you can sort of feel a restart and so on. So the ya-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, that returning thing, that feels to me the part that's the best under control, that feels the most comfortable to you. Because when you get there, you're like, yeah, do this, you know, and it's like, you know, a little bit of Arnold Schwarzenegger there. So let's start with this. I don't have a lot to say about your right hand. You know, your left hand, you know, as that gets better, your right hand is just going to, you know, continue to blossom open. But there really are no problems, and as far as I can see, or there, you know, there won't be. It's, you know, we really want to concentrate, and this is a left-hand etude anyway. So find for me a place that to you feels the most horrific, the hardest, the most uncomfortable. What page is that for you? Because I think we're about on similar pages.
It's page 106 in the book, and then the second page of the etude.
Okay. I can even sing it. Do you think I can find it here? Go ahead and play it for me. I'll find it. So can you do your left hand alone for me? I have it here. I can't see your elbow really clearly from where I'm sitting, but your arm doesn't look super, super tight, okay? So we're gonna concentrate a little bit more on the fingers, all right? So what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to your elbow, that your elbow's not gluing to your side, okay? But what I'm seeing in your forearm, it doesn't look like it is. So this is what I want you to try. So I want you to start right there. Yom da 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 da. Okay, and the feeling that I want you to get with your fingers is like you're gonna grip something. I had an experience. One of my friends had a baby, and she had several of her friends were on the team, and I was on the team. So I was there when the baby was born. So, so we're all going, breathe, breathe, we were sort of doing the whole thing. So when the baby came out, the nurse took the baby and handed him to me. So this kid's like 2 minutes old, right? And I'm holding this baby. I'm a piano teacher. I mean, come on, what do you think I did? I put my finger in his hand, right? Grip like that. And it's an instinct, okay? But it's just, the kid was 2 minutes old. Bam, there he went. So that's what your hands are built to do. That's what's natural, okay? So when you're playing this, I want you to imagine like you have a Nerf ball under your fingers. And we're not going to go too fast, but as you're playing, I want you to squeeze the Nerf ball a little bit. Keep your arm nice and floaty and free, okay? I'm going to just scoot over and watch you work. So you're pulling away before you finish, okay? You'll get there, all right? Try again. Good, 2 more times. Okay, does your wrist feel tight at all, or does it feel okay?
A little tight.
A little, okay. So I want you to think, we were talking a little bit before, so I want you to think about, instead of thinking about the breathing, I want you to think like you have a little faucet up here, and you opened it up, and there's water flowing out, okay? And it's gonna flow out right through your wrist and into your fingers. So you don't wanna put a Grand Coulee Dam in here that stops the river from flowing. Yada, just flow right out from your shoulder. How did that feel?
Better.
That felt better? Good. So now you're gonna do yum, ta-da-da-dum, ta-da-da-da. You're gonna reverse the rhythm and do short and long. Do it again. Remember, no Grand Coulee Dam here. Now, da 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 da, long, short, short.
Good, but a little off.
Huh?
Oh, I just said that might have been a little off, but hopefully it was.
It's okay. You know what? Chopin's dead. He won't know. Okay. Okay, try it again. Yeah, actually, I want you to do the two. Yum, da 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 dee. The two, right? That's it. Yeah. Now do yum, ta dee da ta da da ta. So long, long. Let the water flow right through your arm and into your fingertips. Good. Now play it as written. Yum, da 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 dee da da.
That was much easier.
Well, see, the thing is that, like I said, I think your fingers are fine. And for Pete's sake, your sound is, you've got this big, beautiful sound going on here in your left hand. I think the problem is that you're trying to haul around a couple 100 pounds of potatoes while you're trying to play. So, your job is to just get rid of those, okay? All right, let somebody else make the mashed potatoes, okay? That's not your job. And so let's just, since we're kind of on a roll here, now let's do the next measure where you go D. So do the same thing. Yada da da dee da 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 dee, coming down. Good. Do it again. If you have to get down there, then make it, you know, dee da 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 dee da da dee da da dum ta ta, and set it. You know, while you're looking at it, going, I'm gonna hit it on time. You know what I mean? Rather than trying to get down there. You know, if you need a little extra time in there, then give it a musical reason. Okay, so don't be afraid. It's, you know, you don't have to play this necessarily with the metronome. I mean, we want it to be steady, but it's Chopin for Pete's sake. Okay, so try it down now. Reverse the rhythm. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. Good. Keep that water flowing right out your arm. Nice. Okay, now yum da 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 da. Take a look at your music if you need to, because it's off rhythmically, so it's gonna feel weird, but it's good for you. Good. So when you stumble a little bit there, then check the music, because what that's telling me is either that your fingering is a little off or you're not sure what the notes are. Your fingers may know, but your brain doesn't quite. Okay, so check it again. Try it once more. There you go. That was it. Great. Now try yum, yum, dum, ta da dum, ta da dum, ta da dum. Okay, so 2 longs and then 2 shorts. Good, that'll work too. So start with 2 longs and then do short, short, long, short, short, long. Try that. Whoops, Grand Coulee just came up. Okay. Good, now play this rhythm. Try it again. Remember the squeeze. Good, now play those 2 measures, just your left hand. Remember what that baby did.
Okay.
Okay? Last time, nice free flowing arm, water flowing right out. Good. Now there's one place where a difficulty can cause some tension. Do you know where it is?
I know I have some difficulty at one of the end tones.
I'm just talking about these 2 measures.
Oh.
Okay? Because it's.
I think the big hop.
Yep. The first one is only a leap of a little less than an octave. It's that second 2-octave leap up. Yum, ti, da, da, da. So, what else are you doing on that high D sharp? Besides nothing. Your right hand's just sitting there.
Okay.
So that's exactly the kind of spot I was talking about, is turn a physical necessity into a musical virtue. If you get yourself all tied in and not trying to get there on time, you're cooked for the rest of the measure. So yum ti da da da, and just play it with great passion, you know, yum ta da da, you know, and it's like, you get there on time, you know what I mean? And you don't get Grand Coulee Dam in your wrist. Okay, try just your left hand once more, and then we're going to add the right hand. Right. So what has to happen there is that you don't want to say, take as much time as I want. Yeah, yum ti da da da. Okay, so you have to give it a musical reason. Yum ti da 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 da. Okay, so what's happening now as you're playing it this way is that your fingers are getting less articulated.
Okay.
They're starting to flatten just a little bit, and you have to stretch out, and the more we stretch, the fingers will flatten a little bit, but the idea is you want to pull those tips in, even if you're stretched out this way. What you don't want to do is get into that, okay? So, remember that kid, all right? And you want to put that nerve ball in there, yum, ti, da, 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 da. You can, one other image that I've used for younger ones is that, you know those little M&Ms that come in a tube?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one magically appears on the key. collect M&Ms. All
Okay.
right, try it once more.
Okay.
Good for you. That's much better. All right, now add your right hand. Okay? It's better.
Okay.
It's really better. Now, what happens with your right hand then is now you're going to put them together. Your left hand's, your right hand's going like, wait, what? This feels different. So
Okay.
you want to practice that then hands separately, or hands together, slower, or without pedals, so that you can really line things up. Yada da ba ba, yada da ba ba, that kind of thing. Okay.
Okay.
But the big thing is, it's going to take you some time. This is a long piece. And you have to also, like when you do that leap, you have to throw off any tension because, I would be telling you an untruth if I didn't say that, yeah, at times you'll get a little bit tight and you have to get rid of those potatoes, throw them behind you and release, that kind of thing. The edition that I have in here, and this is an old one, but there's a published one. Oh, this one actually is translated into English. Do you know the Alfred Cortot edition, or have you heard of Alfred Cortot?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, do you guys, anyone here, do you know the Cortot edition at all? It's really interesting. After we're done, I can show it to you. I have it on here. Alfred Cortot did this edition before the First World War in the really early first decade of the 20th century. Maybe it was 1912. And he was probably one of the premier interpreters of Chopin in France, like Paderewski was the premier interpreter in Poland. So he was also a teacher and a really great pianist. And so for each of the etudes, and this you can download on IMSLP. Some of them haven't been translated into English, but the English version is on this here. And he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of exercises and suggestions on working on the technical challenges that are presented here. So it's, especially because you can just download it from the internet, it can be really, really helpful. I had this edition when I was growing up, and I didn't do all of his exercises, but when I had a difficulty, I would go to Cortot. I have an edition, I do this with my students too. Say, okay, well, this is a problem. All right, what does he suggest? And, he'll give you some exercises and talk about, some technical issues that you might find helpful. The last thing that I would say, Anna, is these are just a few suggestions of ways to practice. The advantage with rhythms is it not only will help strengthen your fingers, but it really locks in the fingering so that you don't get into, I'm not sure what the fingering is. It kind of solidifies that as well. Is to then, when you play this piece, don't think, okay, I start at the beginning and I'm playing till the end. Break it mentally into smaller units. You only have to play from point A to point B. Then you start at point B and you play from point B to point C. So it's sort of like swimming the English Channel. You keep taking a breath. Do you know? Because if you're looking at 5 pages of this kind of thing, and it's like, you'll but you can play 8 measures. You just play the 8 measures and then you start over. You have this feeling of start over. We won't hear it. But for you, it's like, okay, you can release that tension and you just have to do 8 measures and you release and so forth. And it really, anytime you're playing a long piece, it's really, really helpful. It's helpful with memory, but it's also really, really helpful with, the kinds of technical, really huge challenges this piece presents. Okay, I hope that's helpful.
Yes.
Good. All right, thank you.